and didn't think I was particularly bright. I also wanted to study psychology, which wouldn't be considered useful to my kibbutz. People in my community encouraged me to learn to drive a tractor, which I stubbornly resisted, and suggested I study engineering or architecture. Usually, the kibbutz would pay for your education if you spent 1 year working in the community. I had no interest in the type of work they encouraged me to do, so I moved to the big city. I worked in a bakery, cleaned houses, and saved money to study psychology at Tel Aviv University. I had to pull myself to move out on my own, to work long and arduous hours, and to do well in school. Fast forward, and here I am. My husband and I pulled ourselves when we moved to the U.S. We pulled ourselves when we applied to be citizens. We pulled ourselves through raising 3 wonderful children. And we continue to pull ourselves toward other, smaller goals every day, keeping the kitchen clean, walking our dog, helping our young son study, and so on. Getting anywhere, as well as sustaining the things you cherish in life, requires a great deal of pulling. If you weren't pulling, you would barely be moving at all. I write this book in the midst of the 2020 pandemic. Like most people, I worry, get distracted, and struggle to stay motivated. Over the past several months, I've learned to take nothing for granted, be it my health, my job, my children's education, or meeting a friend for coffee. And even though I love my job, I find it harder to stay motivated. To write about self-motivation, I start by motivating myself to write. So how do you motivate yourself? The short answer is by changing your circumstances. If you ever put a psychologist, a sociologist, and an economist in one room, that basic principle, changing behavior by modifying the situation in which it occurs, might be the one truth they'll agree on, and you should expect heated arguments on just about everything else. This principle is fundamental to behavioral science. It also underlies many of the discoveries in the science of motivation. Motivation science is relatively young. It was born just a few decades ago, but it has been growing exponentially, as has public interest in how circumstances enable personal growth. We most often use insights from motivation science to motivate others. Companies set organizational goals to motivate employees to work harder. Teachers give students feedback on their progress to motivate them to keep going. Healthcare workers send messages that motivate people to follow medical advice. And energy companies that care about the environment share information about others' low energy use to increase energy conservation. We've developed valuable insights into the processes of motivating others, be it our students, coworkers, clients, or fellow citizens. But we can also use these insights to motivate ourselves. You modify your own behavior by modifying the situation in which it occurs. You might, for example, know that you'll eat whatever is in sight when you're hungry. So if you want to start eating better, a good solution would be to fill up your fridge with fresh fruits and veggies. Another way would be to tell your family that you want to eat healthily so they hold you accountable next time you reach for a donut. You could also mentally change the meaning of a creamy donut from delicious to detrimental. These very different strategies, more about them later, have one thing in common. They change your circumstances. Filling your fridge with veggies changes the options you have when you're reaching for a snack. Telling your family you want to eat better changes who you're accountable to. And